Hello, Steven Universe fans. We are back. Finally! Welcome back to the AFTERBUZZ TV Steven Universe After Show. Today we're looking at episodes 111 through 113, Gem Harvest, and 3 Gems and a Baby. We'll see you after the opening.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
You know, I had no idea that 3 Men and a Baby even had a theme.
Yeah, man.
It's been so long since I've
I
seen
know, me
that
too.
movie. I don't remember anything.
I literally
from
don't
it.
remember anything from it, and I think I'm also confusing it with Look Who's Talking.
Yeah. I mean, like the cover art's very similar.
Sure.
It's everybody looking at the camera, the
Totally.
baby looking at the camera.
Yeah, then there was a great sequel, 3 Men and a Little Lady, where she was like
I remember that
a
one
kid.
better. Yeah.
But it's 3 men who don't know what they're doing raising a small child. We just basically up the number by 1, and that's our episode.
Basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kind of amazing. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are super thrilled to be here because that means we might actually get an actual airing schedule. Holy cow.
Maybe. That's
Christmas
funny.
has come
That's funny.
early. Consistent airing schedules. That's on the top of my Amazon wish list. Not that anyone can get that for me. We are the Steven Universe After Show, obviously. We are looking at episodes, it's like season 4, episode something.
I mean, the Cartoon Network app says that it's like 9 through 11 or something like that.
11 through 13.
I don't trust Cartoon Network season
But
like
numbering
then
111
at all.
through 13,
Wikipedia
right?
says something else, and then TV Guide says another thing. So
So we're going with the wiki numbering. It is 111 through 113. Gem Harvest, which counts as 2, and 3 Gems and a Baby. With me, of course, is my wonderful panel, Emma Fyffe,
Hi, that's me, Emma Fyffe. I can be found all over the internet at my name, Emma Fyffe.
Megan Salinas,
Hey guys, you can tweet at me at themengwin. That's TheMenguin.
and I'm Katie Cullen. You can find me on Twitter at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. We have the hashtag, which is ABTVSU. We're going for alphabet soup. We have the live chat. Emma's keeping an eye on that.
We
yeah?
do, yeah. There's a lot of people in there saying hello, guys. Thanks for joining us.
I know a few of you came over here fresh from Ruby. Thank you for sticking with us.
And Becca says, Katie, don't hold your breath on us getting a regular airing schedule.
I never do.
Good.
I would be dead.
Definitely would have passed out.
If you have something fun to say, throw it in the hashtag, throw it in the live chat. You may well get a shout out like we just did.
Yeah.
Let's hit up Gem Harvest first because this, as you pointed out when we watched it, is our Thanksgiving episode.
It
Yeah.
is.
I like the subtle reference to some sort of candy given out holiday is really funny too.
Yep.
So jack-o'-lanterns are a thing, but Halloween isn't. And I'm really
It
amused
could
by
just
this.
be that Andy doesn't understand Halloween.
That's what I was going to
That's
say.
true,
Is
too.
I felt more that it was Andy didn't understand Halloween, not that Halloween didn't exist.
Yeah.
Or there's a real weird tradition going on that we just don't know about.
I mean,
Sure.
this is an alternate universe version of Earth. So.
That is
Yes.
true. Yes.
It could be literally anything.
Yeah.
So I want to talk. Wow, words. I want to talk about Pumpkin a little bit.
Oh, he was real cute.
So
The Odd Couple has a dog.
Yes.
a friend of mine has a cat named Pumpkin. So when they started calling it Pumpkin, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's so cute.
It's a gem naming scheme applied to a vegetable.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of impetus for this character to begin with is Peridot missed creating life.
Yeah.
So we started farming, but why aren't the vegetables talking to us? I wrote down, then what's the point of corn?
Yeah.
And given last season of Arrow where corn was a joke that we could not let go, I found that particularly wonderful.
Well, and it made perfect sense too in terms of gem sensibility. It's like that, Peridot and Lapis came to the conclusion of, oh well, we should. Lapis particularly was like, I grew gems, so why shouldn't I be able to grow vegetables?
It makes sense because it's like, hey, here are these seeds.
Yeah.
We put them in the earth like you would gems, and like life will grow and they will do my bidding because I made them in my image.
I feel like someone went on WikiHow or something and did some research on farming and growing vegetables because those were perfect rows of corn.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was a perfect
You
farm.
know
It was
Peridot did her
picturesque.
research on her little iPad, like for sure.
Yeah. I mean, she's already established her incredible codependency on her tablet, which I can't relate to at all, as I have like 16 devices right here.
Look who you're talking to.
You don't have it attached to your arm. I think
I
you're
don't
okay.
have it attached to my arm, but I'm this close, this close.
You know they make temporary tattoos that are tech.
Really?
Yeah, you put it on, it stays on for a little while, it's chipped, you can scan them, you can do all sorts of,
Huh.
Yeah.
The future
Yeah.
is now.
Yeah.
We're getting close.
Huh.
Yeah, things that occasionally come across your Twitter from your tech side.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay,
That
that's
sounds like a
thing.
Now This video.
A little bit. So we have the big focal point of this is Andy DeMeo,
Yes.
who literally shows up out of nowhere in a plane.
And I'm going to say this right off the bat is much like the Bismuth episode, I'm very pleased with the way this turned out because this
Me
would have
too.
been so easy to come off as bad fan fiction.
Yeah.
Because let's be real, this is Greg's cousin who strikes me very much as a conservative. Like that is just hitting those.
You couldn't even marry an American.
Hoboing is a man's job. Get out of my
Hobets.
farm.
Yeah.
Get off my planet. Get out of my country. Like,
You're illegal
oh
aliens?
God, illegal aliens was what was like. Okay, we could not nail this in any
was
harder.
handled so well, though, I
Yes.
felt, because, I mean, basically what you were given is a situation of you are introduced to this family member. In the case of Stephen, he didn't even know that he existed. In the case of Greg, their fundamental views are literally polar opposites.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, they're still family, and even though they don't agree on things, they still love each other. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Which is great for a Thanksgiving
No, it
episode
really
because
is.
Thanksgiving is get the family together, and I haven't seen you people in years, so let's tread very
And,
lightly.
I mean, talk about like timing too for an episode like this, because not to get political or anything like that, but there's a lot of national angst going
Yeah.
on right now. So to see an episode have a character like this,
Sure.
Andy could have very easily been a straw man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah, he definitely could
wasn't.
have.
He wasn't at all. He was a a fully fleshed out character.
Yeah.
Who there's a reason he thinks the way he thinks. Like his desire to keep
Yeah.
his conservative sort of outlook is a deep seated desire to keep the family together and to keep things the same as the quote unquote good old days.
And I mean,
he's
and that-
afraid of change.
Exactly, and that is, I mean, but I don't know how you cannot get political with this episode because it was incredibly political.
Yeah, it was.
really
was.
What do you
So,
mean you
again,
went technically
illegal
married?
aliens.
Yeah. So basically, my dad, who by the way is a resident alien, he is not a citizen of the United States, sent me a very interesting article about sort of the cycle of how elections tend to go, where it's like when one party, the more liberal half, remains in power for a long time, as they very recently were, you see a lot of change. And obviously, as somebody who does identify as very, very liberal, I'm all for that. But there is it tends to go in a cycle where the more sort of like progress and change that happens, the more the conservatives are gonna come back with very much like Andy's sort of point of view, which was that idea of like keeping the American nuclear family, you know what I mean? Which is just so not Steven Universe at all. Steven Universe is all about the found family and the taking in of the misfits like your Lapises and your Paradots. So it was very interesting to see them put up against a character whose views varied from theirs so differently, and yet at the same time he was not a bad person.
No.
He just had different values than them.
And it was very much a surprise for him because he expects things to be the same. He expects to come back and find this old barn with this old plane in it. And it's been taken over by people he doesn't recognize and therefore doesn't like because they are so different. and fundamentally changed. It's someone's home now.
I mean, yeah. Could you imagine what it would be like if, you went home for Thanksgiving and there were people you didn't know living in your place who had, like, changed everything and also taken apart very sentimental bits of your childhood.
But again, that also cycles back to that idea that Andy is fundamentally about, like, keeping everything the same, because he's been gone. He wasn't at this barn for years and years and years, and he just assumed it was going to remain unchanged.
And untouched.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, and his realization, I have a plane. I could have been visiting them the whole time.
Yeah.
And it was his reluctance to change and his reluctance to keep up with these developments in his family that has kept him estranged from his family.
Yeah.
Like, he is easily the most mobile person out of all of them.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And I mean, Aunt Deb got the mobile home with her partner, which, nice use of words.
Yes.
Thank
I know,
you.
so great.
We
The show is
noticed.
so great.
Yes. Yeah, Aunt Deb got the mobile home, and that's obviously it's in the name, but a plane is always going to have far more mobility than an RV.
Yeah.
And so just that realization of, oh, if I had budged even a little bit,
Yes.
I could have seen everyone in the past few decades.
Right.
And even, learned more about technology, as it is, because, like, everybody like our age, this is how we communicate.
Yeah.
We text, we call, not call very much, but we
No.
text
And
we
he heard
email.
about hippies on AM radio.
Exactly. So he's clearly not, even though he's a pilot and clearly a very capable person in that regard, I don't think he would ever get, like, a smartphone like Steven has to try to, like, reach out to people.
It's very weird how disconnected he is when in actuality he should be the most connected, as he of course realizes if he had just budged on his viewpoints a little bit. And I think it is just sort of meant to illustrate that idea of, like, there is a certain, like, demographic of people who, like, live in this but we're guilty of it too. Like, we all live in our little bubbles.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
it's hard to perceive people
Outside of that.
yeah.
Yeah, like living in Los Angeles, it's like, well, people from Los Angeles think this
Yeah,
way, and then you
exactly.
go to a completely different part of the country,
And
they're
then
like,
you go home for Thanksgiving.
and you're like, wait, what? Or people come to visit and they say something, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
We just had this moment of,
So
yeah.
it's a great reminder though of, like, I think in particular right after the 2012 election, a friend of mine came to visit me and made a comment about the election, and I was taken aback, and then I had to sit there and go, oh wait. Given her background and where she currently works and what she's doing with her life right now, it makes complete and total sense
That she thinks that
this
way.
would be her viewpoint.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so this episode is a really great reminder of no matter which side of the spectrum you're
Yeah.
on, just taking a step back and going, why, don't necessarily react
Right.
with anger or with
Yeah.
like, I'm going to explain something to you or teach you what's
Absolutely.
what. Take a step back and ask yourself, why does this person think the way they do?
Yeah.
And then try to approach them from a different angle with that understanding.
Yeah. And
yeah,
I
they're
mean,
still people. They're still your family.
Correct,
And
yeah.
they're worth talking to and worth making that effort.
yeah. And, and with Andy, it was very clear that he perceived himself as having been abandoned when really just everyone else was moving forward and he was staying put.
Exactly.
Despite being the most traveled out of all of them, he was still in the same place.
Speaking of, I would love to have an old-timey plane like that and have that hat and be able to fly it
Yeah.
wherever you want. Like, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
See, but here's the thing: if your car breaks down on the side of the road, you have AAA. If your plane breaks down in the side of the sky, you're hosed.
I imagine I wouldn't have to worry
There
about
is
it for
no
very
pla-
long.
Yeah.
Pull a Harrison Ford and just land the plane like, yeah, no big deal, whatever.
Yeah. Becca in the chat said, "What is with this family and living in transportation vehicles?"
Why not?
I mean, that does very much show like a very similar thing, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Greg lives in his van, and Andy lives out of his plane.
yeah.
I mean, it shows that even though they're different, like fundamentally there is still something very similar.
There's still something very similar about them.
And then the mobile home, and then I guess Grandpa is the only one who is in a stable place?
Sure.
A non-moving
Yeah.
place?
Well, again, because he got too old to
make
keep
the
moving.
And then Jet33 in the chat says, I want to spend Thanksgiving with and get married to all the gems. Anyone else? Because that was the other thing was, you're seeing the gem point of view of they don't quite understand humans, and so their point of view is right, they're trying to grasp this idea of traditions, and so they basically after
They turn to Steven and say, what do we need to do to make this work?
Yeah.
Because it's important to you.
And not to mention that this is the first time, all the gems have been united in saying, Greg's awesome. We don't like this new
Our
Greg.
Greg is obvious.
That
What
was
is it?
great.
Our
Like,
Greg is
seeing-
clearly the superior
Seeing
one.
Yes.
Pearl say that,
Yeah.
it warmed my heart.
Yeah.
And
I
then
was
the
so happy.
contrast with this next episode where we get flashback Pearl, and it's like, I'm dying.
She's come so far.
She
guys.
has. She really has.
has.
But yeah, and it was just funny, since Andy made the when Greg is like, well, Rose and I weren't actually married. What do you mean? Yeah, and Andy has a freak out about that, and then they're like, since you guys are so into you just love the
traditions.
idea of marriage, let's just all get married to each other.
And we can throw in some being born and some dying.
We're very sorry for your marriage.
That was amazing.
It was so good.
And it was just we tried so hard, and we obviously did this unsupervised.
Now he has a free headstone. How great is that?
Yeah, it's too good.
But it's it's making your book report after
can I
only
just-
reading the Cliff's Notes.
Can I just say that I would absolutely love a short of the gems going shopping together and having
yes.
this list of okay, what do we do?
They were Pearl took us to the store. And
to the store.
And Peridot wanted to keep the shopping cart.
Well,
Yes.
they clearly went to probably a morgue to get the
Yeah,
headstone
right.
or to some sort of
No,
masonry
they
person.
went to Costco.
Maybe.
You can buy coffins at Costco.
I was gonna say actual grave. Well, yeah, they probably went to
gravestones.
Costco
If it was
to
after
get.
Halloween,
Do they sell
they
wedding
have
cakes at
leftover
Costco?
Halloween, yes.
They sell
They sell
wedding cakes at
everything at
Costco.
Costco.
Then they've got a headstone. Costco's
they for
the
sure,
place to
yeah,
go.
definitely. They definitely have wedding cakes at Costco.
And if it was
amazing.
after Halloween, that gravestone might just be a prop.
Question though, do you have to buy the wedding cakes in bulk?
No,
same with the
they
headstone.
count as bulk.
Yeah.
The layers are the
I've
individual
never-
ones. The whole cake
I've
counts
never
as
had to
bulk.
buy a wedding cake at Costco before. I don't know.
Costco sells
But yeah,
everything.
I
whether
would
it
I
really
would pay
should
good
or
money
not.
to watch a short of the gems going to the world's equivalent of Costco.
Oh, yes.
And obtaining all these items. That would be the best.
I
Yes.
need it in my life. Someone draw a comic.
Yeah, Mika in the chat is very perplexed by the idea that you can buy coffins at Costco, but that is in fact the truth.
Check their website. It's
Yeah.
a thing.
Yeah, they don't have them on the floor for you to purchase, but they definitely stock them. And if you talk to the right person, I don't want this is getting really
I was
morbid
gonna
and
say,
weird.
it sounds like you like Costco has some weird
Yeah, it's like the
black
secret
market,
under-
black
Listen,
Costco.
it's the underground
Shadow
vampire
Costco.
market society because vampires need coffins. So
I'm doing
You just
big
run down
shopping
a
at Costco. You're what? I need a new coffin. Oh, get the mahogany. It's in this year.
yeah,
Probably get a better deal.
Well, yeah, making funerals affordable. Anyway, wow, that got
Way
really
off
dark.
topic.
it's fine.
Let's throw in some being born.
But yeah,
And eating the cake
can-
first, and what are my manners? Where are my manners?
This scene,
It was so cute.
This scene of the gems really connecting as a family.
Yeah.
Which again shows how much outside this sphere Andy really is. But there's again so much love and history between this group, and even though it started off with so much animosity, they really have come together as this beautiful family.
Absolutely, and I mean that was what Peridot ended up thanking Andy for when they went around the table, and they're like, "Oh, raise your hand if you've been thanked," and Andy doesn't raise his hand because they haven't thanked him for anything.
Oh, honey, and the huge, it's essentially a family inside joke. Everyone's got that shorthand with their family where you sit there and go, phenomena or
Right.
French fries or
Right.
something, all of which are running jokes in my
Yes,
family.
well,
Not to mention that high five.
Yes, just like,
Oh,
yep.
that was so
That's
great.
a roommate thing. That is, you get shorthand with people that you're with for a long time.
Yes.
And this was the gem war, the ongoing metaphor about the table being the gem war.
Yeah.
It has corn on it and it's beautiful and we'll defend it. Now that I've spent time at the table, I can see the value of your corn.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a very, very
Yeah.
obvious metaphor, but
Yeah.
it was great.
Corinne in the chat points out Lapis's inside joke about the mirror, and because it was all like gem inside jokes.
Yeah. And the thing is, that's something that they get after being together for a good chunk of time. And that's something that, as the audience, this is not an episode that would have worked in season 2. This is not, even without the characters in question, just like as a feeling, this would not have worked in season 2. We've done over 100 episodes at this point. We have earned this dynamic. So we're sitting there as the audience, as part of this family, because we are in on this joke.
Yeah.
We've been with them this entire time. We've seen them grow and change and develop. And so we're sitting there laughing our butts off because, yes, these are the kind of jokes that happen at my family dinner table. This is a family thing. And we've earned it with them.
Since we were talking about jokes, just to circle back, because there's a real good one in the chat that you're going to hate, Megan.
Yes!
Malachroma says,
Malachroma!
Lapis isn't actually hydrokinetic. She's just so salty about the mirror. She's developed the ability to control the salt in the ocean.
God bless you, Malachroma.
Malachroma, why? I thought we were cool.
I love you. You're amazing.
Yeah.
Malachroma at this point,
was
I
clever.
think, knows where all of our various buttons are and just likes tap dancing on them.
It was clever.
It was very
It was
clever.
clever.
Well
Malachroma.
done, my friend. Well done.
But yeah, again, it's one of those things, and I think everybody's been in this situation before where you're the odd man out, you're the only one that doesn't pick up on any of the inside jokes, and when you try to hop into the conversation, you kind of get like railroaded a little bit, and you're like, oh, okay.
Oh, gems don't eat. Here's this thing that literally everyone else knows because it's second nature to them, but I, having been here for 2 hours.
And great visual storytelling, you know, for the kids,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
to just pick up on the single little man
Little
on the cake.
groomsman on his own.
Aw.
I love the detail of Peridot toasting him with a plate. It's still just those little things where it's like you still haven't quite figured it out.
Yeah.
And everyone follows suit. Just
Cheers!
like, sure.
Close enough.
Everyone just rolls with it. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, this episode, I have more notes, but right now my brain is just still sitting here going, I can't get over that joke. I cannot get over the extended table metaphor. It makes me so happy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a very well executed episode, I thought. And, you know, I think that you sort of ended the episode being like, you started the episode certainly being on the side of the gems, especially when you saw them all supporting Greg, because that hasn't always been par for the course. So, like, to see them all come together and, like, be in support of Greg was so great. And then, you know, it's sort of, and by the end of the episode, you're like, all right, I'm never gonna be besties with Andy, but like, I get it.
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
cool.
And much.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
You go.
Oh, much like
after you.
where are my manners?
Where are my manners?
But like much like we've seen the gems grow and develop and change, and you know, forgiveness and moving forward has become, you know, brought them to where they are now. Andy is also a character who, after learning this lesson, will be able to move forward and hopefully grow and change. And again, what a wonderful lesson for, you know, again, for the kids in the audience and even some of the adults watching too. It's never too late to change, to grow, and to learn something.
And it's so nice that we have a human-centric episode. Like,
Yeah. I love that
obviously the
we
focus is on
cake.
Steven, and a lot of that comes along with the gems, but
Yep.
it's not very often where we sit back and we go, and here are our human characters who are every single bit as important.
Yep.
And so it's nice to see that, and I think Andy will be back.
Side note, actually, Mark told us before we hopped into the studio here, the actor who played Andy was a writer on Aqua Teen Hunger Force, and he did a voice on the show that had a very whose voice and character were very similar to Andy's. So that's kind of a fun like Cartoon Network tidbit. Not to mention the last name DeMeo, as you pointed out, was a reference to one of the animators that works on the show.
And that used to be Greg's last name, and he changed it.
Yes.
DeMeo's a much cooler name than Universe.
Than plain old Universe.
Steven, as BG Titan Avatar points out in the chat, Universe isn't a real last name?
Universe is absolutely a real last name.
Yeah, you got it. That's so great that Greg legally changed his name to Greg Universe.
Yes.
I just love you, Space Walnut.
Yes.
Like, ridiculous insults are absolutely my jam, and I think you useless lug nut has been one of my favorites that one of my friends has said, but Space Walnut. God bless.
Hobets is also pretty fun.
Hobets. It's a man's job.
Yep.
All right, do we have any other thoughts on this episode?
Just that like the plane scene at the end was also very touching, and again in the hands of lesser writing, it could have come off as really schmaltzy, and it didn't. So like again, it's just a testament to how good this show is.
And I love how chill Lapis was with the entire thing. Like,
Just
yep, we've totally done this before.
Literally
Yep, Steve
throwing
will be
him
fine.
onto the plane with no regard for his safety. He'll be fine.
I'll meet you at home, Kay. And poor Andy, just like, what are we doing?
And I like that that pumpkin, of after seeing Steven murder his brethren, warmed up to Lapis in Paradise.
Yes.
There is a Calvin and Hobbes comic. That's all I can think of whenever we carve pumpkins. It's just the two of them talking and starting off, and then Calvin, starts with a knife and says, "Okay, Jack, time for your lobotomy." And Hobbes goes, "Oh, no anesthetic even." And that has stuck with me for years, and that's all I could think of for
by
this.
the way,
Time for your lobotomy!
Steven did it like backwards. You empty
did.
it out first, and then you do the face because it's way easier.
And with a trowel. I mean, that takes some doing.
he's very strong.
Gem strength.
Yeah, he's very strong.
That's true. Like, how did you carve a pumpkin like that? Ah, that's right. I forget.
Yeah.
It's not weird to see you lift a box that's bigger than you are, but it is absolutely weird to see you carve a pumpkin. My life.
But again, he couldn't float right away. So.
Oh, I know. I was
happy
hoping he was
thoughts.
going to float,
but
but
fresh laundry
didn't
makes
happen.
him so happy.
Yeah.
Fresh laundry. Doesn't it make all of us happy? And then
Yeah.
you have to fold it and you kind of stop floating.
And then then you stop being happy.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
Emma, did you have final thoughts on this?
Just that I was very impressed with the way that it was handled, especially given my extreme left tendencies.
Yeah. Just as a show, Steven Universe is really, really good at addressing these issues in, I hesitate to say, a fair and even sort of way, but they're really good at seeing both sides.
Yeah, it's definitely, again, the show is about lesbian space rock.
It's
clearly more of a left-leaning show, which is fine, because we need more of those perspectives
Absolutely.
on TV right now, and show, like, being more representative of those lifestyles and hiring more people of color.
Yeah.
But, again, to be able to tell a story like this without vilifying anyone takes some very interesting writing maneuvering, and I think this show pulled it off.
I think they absolutely achieved it.
Well done. Heck of a Thanksgiving special.
Yay!
Yeah, it was really
good. All right, let's move on to 3 gems and a baby. Our requisite one per season Greg flashback episode.
I know. This to me was my favorite one still. I think it was the last one at this point where he was taking care of the baby. Yeah, when he was babysitting for sour cream as a baby, which was amazing.
I did watch him. First he started crawling, and then he crawled
where you got to kind of see the roots of Greg actually being a pretty good parent, or at least like
learning to be an adult.
Yeah, learning to be an adult and having that sort of like fundamental sort of nurturing fatherly instinct, which absolutely carried over into this episode, where he was the only one, and he was the one that was willing to admit that he didn't really know everything that he was doing. Yeah. And he looked at Steven being like, this is a baby. I don't really know what to do with a baby. Also, this baby has a giant pink gem in its stomach. don't really know what to do with that either.
Again, it's something we've talked about a lot as Steven's growing up and no one really knows. Particularly in the episode where they set up the obstacles for him. I don't remember the name of it. But, like, he hears them talk about, like, you know, we don't know what he needs. There's never been anybody like Steven. And I think this is the very first time the Gems really learned that lesson. Because, I mean, and I had no idea that Amethyst took... I mean, we knew that they were all very much affected by Rose, you know, being gone. We know that they were all heavily affected by it, but I didn't think Amethyst, like, not being able to grasp the concept of Rose being gone was ever anything that she went through.
Yeah.
Well, Amethyst is kind of the kid of the group.
She is.
And so she'd be less accustomed to this.
And honestly, she was not the only one that was struggling with the idea of Rose being gone. It was literally all of them.
Yeah.
Like, even Garnet, who was like, oh, I get it. It's just, he's a fusion of Rose and Greg, so they just need to unfuse, and then it's going to be fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, I know you didn't want to unfuse in front of Greg. That would be very rude, but it's just us. Like, you can take a break. It's totally fine. Like, here, I'll do it too.
And then Steven just...
Freaking out.
Like, where did Garnet go?
Where's the tall one? Where did she go? Oh, God!
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
that's-
just mutual freaking out all around.
Well, and that was, I mean, it's probably also one of the reasons why they waited so long to reveal Ruby and Sapphire to him. Because, like, the first time they did it, it made him cry. So,
upset,
they were
yeah.
like, okay, we'll
Absolutely.
just stay together. It's fine.
Yeah.
it's like, let's not do that
Let's wait
again.
until he's older. It's fine.
He's old enough to understand, right? Right.
Like, to the point where they didn't even bring up fusions until he was 13 years
Yeah,
old.
well, because, and I mean, at this point, you know, you're seeing Steven at the beginning of his life, and the first time with the Gems kind of coming to terms with the fact that, like, Rose is really gone and Steven is not Rose. But at this point, like, they don't understand really what a human is. It's at the end of the episode when Garnet's like, no, this is a baby human, and that's what he is. And it's going to have to, you know, we all were devoted to Rose, we followed her, but now it's going to be all about Steven.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Pearl almost killed him. Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of terrifying.
And just the understanding between the four of them that, okay, there has absolutely never been anyone like Steven before.
Yeah.
None of us know entirely what we're doing.
Right.
So we're going to need to work together.
Yeah, and first-time parents don't know what they're doing anyway. But,
No,
like,
you can do all the
throw in-
prep in the world and
you
you're still
throw
not
in
ready.
Alien
Oh my
magic.
gosh. Well, yeah, I mean, if you think about it this way, a friend of mine who had a baby a couple years ago put it this way to another friend of mine who just had her baby a few days ago, that, like, you go to the hospital, you deliver a baby, and then you have this little tiny thing that
You have a
doesn't come
tiny
with an
human,
instruction
yeah.
manual, and you have to go home and take care of it for its entire life. Like,
Forever,
Yeah.
yes.
you know, like, it's
At a minimum of 18
yes,
years.
yes. So,
almost
Quite
2 decades, guys.
This is why I have a cat.
yeah. So I mean, it just
There's a level of responsibility that I cannot measure up to.
So it just adds that layer of I don't know what I'm doing with Steven because he's literally the only child ever of a human and a gem.
Yeah.
So who, you know,
Yeah.
Rose certainly seemed to know that she was not going to survive.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and it's one of those things where they touched on it, you know, in the Lost in Space episode where Eyeball was trying to kill him. He's like, what would even happen to me? Like, if Steven died but the gems still remained intact, would Rose reemerge? Like, what happens?
Well, I feel
Yeah.
like Word of God has said that that's not a thing.
Yeah.
I don't think I feel like Rose is gone.
I
and
agree.
like
and I think so Becca in the
Like,
chat
this is a permanent thing.
brought up a good point just in regards to Pearl in the moment where she's like thinking of pulling the gem out of Steven's stomach. Says I think in Pearl's mind it would have been the equivalent of pulling Lapis gem out of the mirror. It would allow Rose to reform but wouldn't hurt Steven. But I think that Pearl did have a moment where she like thought, okay, that's probably how it's going to go down. But what if it doesn't? What if it kills him?
it'll be
and that's,
fine.
And that's
Yeah.
what stopped her.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think what also stopped her was less about it, like, actually killing him, because we don't know if that
Yeah.
was, like, her thought process. But I think what actually stopped her was Rose wanted this.
Yeah.
Rose wanted this
Yeah.
so much. I can't take it away from her, but I don't know how to deal with this.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is when we get the breakdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, because above all else, Pearl would respect Rose and Rose's wishes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, just God, this episode. And again, seeing all the flashback versions of the characters and seeing Pearl and just being like, oh my God, you have come so far. Thank God.
I mean, but like because clearly she still has this resentment, like this, and it's probably at its most intense, in the wake of Rose being gone. But like at the same time, she also gave the most practical gift out of all of them.
Yeah, that's true.
We had a razor. Because future vision. We had a box of diapers, but they were adult diapers. So, Gold Star, you tried.
Just change the shape, it'll be fine.
And we had Webby's dictionary.
Yeah. I liked that it was Webby's dictionary,
Yes.
not Webster's.
It's the most practical gift for a being that can't communicate yet. Just saying.
mean, and I loved Greg's reaction of like, maybe you guys should have looked up what a baby is.
I just the bit with it, he's really more into this and the carabiner.
Yeah.
And I did love the moment where Amethyst is like, do you just like being a baby? And she turns into a baby and Garnet holds her and she's like, okay, yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Like, nope, I get it, but it's been months.
I could get behind this.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I understand, I got it, but this is getting old.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like, Rose is basically, like, the closest thing she'd ever have to a mom, so... Yeah, it's a hard... Like, death is hard to grapple with anyway, but yeah, especially for probably Amethyst, who hasn't had to ever deal with that.
Yeah,
in any
for
capacity.
sure.
She missed the war.
Yeah, so... Yeah, that's just not something that I think she would really grasp, especially being the youngest out of all of them as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, she's gone, but here's this physical reminder
Well,
of
and
her
the
that
gem
she should be able
isn't
to
shattered
refrain from.
either.
Yeah.
So, like, that's something that I think they would all be able to process a lot more easily if there wasn't this walking embodiment of Rose still being around.
Yeah. So that just, again, it's a weird situation for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, and like their inability to even refer to him as Steven,
Little Rose,
Little
and then
Rose,
little
little
Greg.
Greg.
Yeah.
It's like, nope, Steven, still Steven, not Rose. Come on, you guys, work with me here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love Greg doing his best.
Yeah.
My babies!
Oh my gosh.
van.
Oh, and then when he tried to get the dog sled working.
And then it came after him.
Yes.
That was an unhappy puppy.
I know.
And just running out there in a blanket.
I know.
Like, nope, gotta get my kid. Don't know what they're gonna do.
Yep.
Yeah, and even just during the song, because it was a very lovely, cute little song.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
a very cute little number of just like, I could never be ready to be a parent, and then the rest of the episode is, because
Neither
that
could anyone
part
else.
was just focusing on being a parent, let alone, and then the rest of the episode focused on being the parent to the most unique individual on the entire planet.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, ultimately, Jonathan Pinion in the chat says, I'm glad that Greg kind of like sassed the gems back, because obviously he was thinking, like, this isn't easy for him
Yeah, no.
either. And again, it's like, it's difficult on so many levels, and it basically comes down to, like, Greg doesn't really know how to raise a little human. The gems don't really know how to raise a little gem because there aren't little gems.
There aren't any.
But at the end of the day, if we all work together, it's probably going to go better.
Yeah, exactly. And again, that's how you see this family come together, and where we cut back to the future, where things are a lot better than they were back then.
And I do like that the theme of both of these episodes has been, it's okay to change.
Right.
It's difficult, it's not always fun, but it's necessary, even if you don't think you can do it, or even if it's hard. Like, I like that we have this running theme.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, do we have any other thoughts on this episode?
Just it was extremely cute, and as most Steven Universe episodes do. It starts off cute, and then it gets real sad, and then it gets real sweet. And I think I said while we were watching it was like, I can't go into the Ruby panel crying. Like I just can't do that right now, guys.
It's like, nope, this is no longer okay. We're done.
Yeah.
I love that the agreement is that all stories about the past are told in song.
Yes.
That's pretty fantastic.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, it was just, I was nice to see 2 really good Greg episodes in a row, because one of the things that I adore so much about Greg as a character is that he is, you know, a kind of a waste of life, and like, you know what I mean? Like he's
wow.
but you know what I mean? Like he's like the most wonderful portrayal of who would, on a surface level, come across as kind of a deadbeat dad.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I'm so glad they flipped that trope on its
Yeah,
head, because
that's-
it looked like it was heading there.
Right, 100%. Like that's what I'm saying, is that like from the outside to just glance Greg, like he works at a car wash, he lives in a van, like, you know, but
lives in a van down by the river. Yeah.
right, but he's a great dad, you know, and it's not that he's perfect, but he tries his best all the time, and he's always tried his best.
Yeah, and it's basically been confirmed that one of the reasons, and granted, we saw when he was young, it was because he was devoting himself to like worshiping Rose,
Yes.
but like. When at this point in his life, when the series starts, you know, again, we initially think it's because he's the deadbeat dad, but the reason he's living the life that he's living is because he's financially supporting all of the gems and Steven. And that's never anything that's explicitly said in the show. It's something you have to kind of read between the lines for.
We did get word of God on
Exactly. So he's just quietly working very hard to support, you know, these people who don't understand how human money works.
Yeah, no idea, and probably will never grasp that because Greg works hard and takes care of them.
And is now rich.
Yeah, that's true.
Eases a lot.
Yeah.
It does. And Greg deserved that.
He really did.
He really did. It's just one of those, like, quiet sighs of relief, like, okay, that's not something we have to worry about anymore.
Yeah, so,
yes.
Yeah, and I love everything with young Greg that just shows you just, I don't know, you get why Rose was so in love with him.
Exactly.
Yeah. I
and
love,
why they made such a good couple.
Yeah, and I adore Greg as a character, and I love seeing him get these nice moments to shine, and it's also really nice to, you know, kind of go back to the beginning and look at how far the gems in particular plural have come.
Yeah.
So.
And after a lot of episodes about you know, Homeworld and about the diamonds and about the cluster, to just have 2 episodes back to back be focused on Steven's humanity. Yeah, family and humanity, and how much that is very much a part of who he is.
It's really good to find the balance in the show. And again, just the writers on this show. Oh my God, you guys, you're wonderful.
So great.
Yeah.
All right, do we have any final thoughts on these episodes as a whole?
Like I
Aside
said,
from I'm going to lie down and have feelings. So many feelings.
Just, it's a wonderful thing to be able to laugh and cry, you know, in the span of 11 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well said.
Okay, well, if that is the case, we are going to take a minute to talk to you about iTunes. For those of you who have already left a review, thank you so much. And for those of you who have not yet, that is the best thing you can do to keep us on the air as an after show. Head to iTunes, rate, leave us 5 stars, because you know you love us, right? And comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. If you leave a review, the producers do check the reviews. They do take a look at these and say, you know what, people really seem to like this Steven Universe after show. Next time it comes on the air, we should bring the show back. And then we get to be here whenever we have episodes to talk about.
Yeah.
When we have a consistent airing schedule, it's the first Thursday of every month. When we don't, it's whenever we can.
Yay.
We will always keep you updated as best we can over the Twitters. It doesn't look like we have a new review since the last time we were on. Then again, it's been a good chunk of time.
It has been. We forgive you.
Yeah, so if you have not yet reviewed, please leave us a review. It really does help us out as a show. That's how you can support us. If you are in an iTunes store that is not the American iTunes store, we have trouble tracking those down. So if you do leave a review in a store that's not the American store, please screen cap it, put it on Twitter in the hashtag ABTVSU. We would absolutely love to see those. Same as if you leave a review in the podcast feature of Google Music.
And those reviews do count. Again,
They
it's something
do.
our producers see and take into account and everything like that. We just have a hard time seeing.
Yes.
Yeah. They count. Please do them.
Yeah.
We love you.
But we want to
adore
hear
you.
the nice things you have to say about us.
Exactly.
So please send us screen caps.
Stroke our egos. All right. Should we swing into predictions? Do we have predictions?
Sure.
Kinda.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right, you guys. Where do we go from here?
So how long until we get the Peridot Lapis fusion?
I know. It's
that
so
everyone's
close.
been banging their head against the wall about.
It's getting there.
I mean, we gotta
getting there.
I mean, it'll happen eventually, I'm sure.
I sincerely hope that is something that they don't advertise. That they don't tell us about. That it's
No.
not obvious.
No
the title of the
leaks.
episode. Nothing. That it just comes right the heck out of nowhere. That is how I want that to go down, at least in terms of fandom preparedness, because people will go insane. And I kind of love watching that, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like I said, no leaks. I want that. Yeah, I want it to be a surprise when it happens.
I just want Yellow Diamond to come back and say
Yes! Oh, it's been like it needs to happen.
I know.
It needs to happen,
Guys, why would you hire Patti LuPone if she's not going to sing? Like, come on.
It's only a matter of time
I
until
know.
we start swinging back into the plot a little more, but I would be perfectly okay with a few more human episodes to round out the rest of December.
Yeah, you know, the holidays. Give us some warm and fuzzies.
Sure,
for the holidays.
sure.
Yeah.
Though holidays might not exist in this world. There was some conversation in the chat about Rebecca perhaps having said that they don't exist in this alternate version.
Fair
of Earth.
enough. Again,
They don't seem
New
to.
Year's kind of
Yeah.
does. We had the fireworks.
Yeah, but
thing.
they don't seem to have religion, which is
I mean, gems altered the course of human history
yeah, exactly.
for sure.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, all of the temples and things that we've seen on Earth
Are
gem
gems.
established.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, it makes sense. To kind of swing into like the overarching plot, there are a lot of theories about somebody named Black Diamond being a thing, and for me, I'm like, ooh, what if that was the fusion of all of the diamonds together?
Ooh.
Ooh, like,
Or there's a diamond we don't.
I mean, that
I don't
really
know.
seems
I
more
got
like it would be
nothing.
Rainbow Diamond, but
maybe I don't know.
Diamond. I mean,
I don't know. There's
Yeah.
just that I saw one or two theories strewn about there about Black Diamond being a thing. So I'm like, oh, maybe it's a fusion. I don't know. Of like, because I imagine that all of the perfect beings would have the capability of fusing with each other. So because they're all diamonds, that
but
would
I mean,
be my
one
thought.
of them's gone.
Yeah, exactly.
At least one of them is gone, rather.
Exactly. So, like, again, maybe Black Diamond is what they use to, like, subjugate the rest of gem kind. I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know.
And at this point, I think in terms of predictions, we are just throwing stuff at the wall to see
Yeah.
what sticks. We don't know what's coming down the line.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at any episode titles. I don't know if any of them are even released.
But yeah, we need flashbacks of
Yeah,
Pink
I
Diamond.
think there are maybe a couple, but yeah, it's not.
I haven't looked.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we absolutely need a flashback of Pink Diamond to see why it
What
was
the heck
necessary
happened.
to
Yeah.
shatter her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It'd be interesting to see if Bismuth was in that flashback.
Yep. I'm guessing probably yes. But we'll see.
Maybe. We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see.
Interesting,
yeah.
interesting times.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Do we have any other predictions, or are we just still throwing stuff at the wall?
Throwing stuff at the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, let's anything from the chat?
No, I just screen capped a bunch of stuff because Jet and Malochroma improvised an opening theme song for us to the tune of the Steven Universe theme song, so I want to record that
Please.
sometime.
Yeah,
can't
for
wait
real.
to.
Yeah, so thanks guys. It was very clever lyrics and it totally fits. I was like singing it in my head, so that's why I was a little distracted. But yes, it was great. I'm so excited.
I love our chat.
It's the best. You guys are so great.
Guys, we
Yeah.
show up once a month and you're here with bells on.
Seriously.
I love it. I love it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Seriously, we are so happy that you guys keep coming back, even though our airing schedule is just weird.
I rules.
Nonsense.
Absolutely weird, but that's all right. Emma, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. That's where I am mostly at my name, Emma Fyffe, EMMAFYFFE. You can see me on several shows here at AfterBuzz TV, including Star Wars Rebels with both Megan and Katie, which is on Tuesdays at 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. Ash vs. Evil Dead. That's also with Megan on Sunday nights at 9 o'clock? Yeah, 9 o'clock. We were at 10 and then we moved to 9. It's way better at 9. 9 o'clock p.m. Pacific. We only have 2 more episodes of that left. And then today, I know probably a lot of you who like Steven Universe also may be fans of an anime series called Yuri on Ice. So Mark Donica, Alexis Torres, and Stacy, right? Her name is
Stacy Shuttles.
Stacy
Yeah.
Shuttles. And Stacy and I have only met in passing and follow each other on Twitter, but we're going to be real good friends real soon because
She's
we're
lovely.
going to be doing an after show for Yuri on Ice because we have so many feelings about it, and I'm just really excited. So that starts December 19th at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific, and we'll be covering 2 episodes per episode.
That is so exciting.
I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet, but I think I'm going to watch along with you guys.
So good.
I can't wait. My name is Megan. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at themenguin. That's TheMenguin. I am also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz, mostly with these lovely ladies.
Hey.
And I write articles for the Movie Chick. That's Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out.
And I'm Katie Cullen. You can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and YouTube at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. I'm also on Snapchat at Kia Prime. I think I have one show that I'm on right now that doesn't include either of you, and that's Arrow on Wednesday nights. Otherwise, it's Z Nation on Mondays with Megan. We just got renewed for season 4, and it's Star Wars Rebels on Tuesdays with both of these lovely ladies. Arrow on Wednesdays, Robots in Disguise and Ruby alternate for Thursdays.
Yes.
We just did the Ruby after show, so next week it is going to be the tiny miniature season finale. Of Robots.
Yes.
And then Steven Universe will hopefully be back the first Thursday of December. There might be some scheduling shenanigans. We will keep you updated in the hashtag. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for tuning in time after time. Seriously, we absolutely adore you. And we will see you next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
We're very sorry for your marriage.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.